Okay, so the vectors u and v are defined by u is 3i minus 5j and v is minus 2i plus 7j. So in part 1 of A, we're asked to find a multiple of u combined with a multiple of v. Okay, so 3 lots of u. Take away then 9 lots of v. So v then will be minus 2i plus 7j. So if we work that out, we get 9i minus 15j, and then careful here with the minuses, minus 9 times minus 2 is plus 18i, and then minus 9 times 7 is minus 63j. So we get 27i minus 78j for part 1. Part 2 then is the vectors u and v are the position vectors of the points u and v. Respectively, find the length of u, the line uv. So a diagram will help, obviously, with vectors here in 2 positions. Okay, so we've got position u, position v, and we know to get from the origin to u is little u. Okay, because they call that the position vector. So it's like the coordinate to get from O to here, and the same then to get to v, the coordinate there. To get from 0 to v is little v there. So they want the length of the line uv. Notice in the question, it's not capitalized, okay? Sorry, it's not bolded. It's not in bold because it's not a vector. They literally just want the length here. They want the size of it. However, we still need to find the vector, okay? So we still need to find uv vector before we find the length, because the vector in itself then will help us determine the length. The vector also, of course, has got direction to it. But to start with, definitely like have a diagram. You have your uv, and we're going from u to v. So that in order to get there, the pathway we can take is u to o, and then o to v. Now u to o is like the reverse, isn't it? It's the reverse of o to u. So you're going backwards, so it'll be negative u. And then positive v then from O to v. So we're familiar with this result now. It's just little v take away little u. Okay, sort of reversing that order. Little v take away little u. And of course, we've got vector values for v in terms of I and j. So v is minus 2i plus 7j. And then u is 3i minus 5j. So we put that in the bracket because we want to take it away. So we get minus 5i, and then that will be, well, 7j, and then minus minus, yeah, careful there, minus minus becomes a plus. So that will be 7 plus 5 is 12. J, yeah, 7, and the minus minus become plus. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Now, that's the vector. Of course, we want the length. So if we think about this now diagrammatically, minus 5 in the I direction is sort of going that way, 5, and then 12 is sort of in the J direction is going that way. And I literally want that to combine the overall effect of that. So essentially you're starting here, you're going across 5, up 12, you end up here. So we want the length of that distance there. So UV will literally be using Pythagoras, that squared and that squared. Yeah, so right angle triangle because it's going across and then up. So it's 5 squared, that's 12 squared, and whatever that is, you square root it, and we get our answer to be 13. Okay? Right, so part B then, so if we look at part B, it says the 2 villages, A and B, are 48 kilometers apart on a long straight road passing through a desert. The position vectors of A and B are denoted by little a, little b, respectively. So again, the diagram will help. It says A, there's B. And to get to A is the vector little a. To get to B is the vector little b. So it says then, village C lies on the road between A and B at a distance of 6 kilometers from B. So it's on that road from A to B, but it's quite close to B, isn't it? Because the distance from A to B is 48 kilometers, yet the distance from B is just 6 kilometers. So it's very close to B. Now, we could look at a ratio in terms of splitting this line. And if you think about it, if it's just 6 kilometers from B, quite close to B, think about how far it is from A there. okay, from A, well, 6 kilometers from B, that means they are from 48, there are 42 kilometers left. So the ratio of A to C to B, there's going to be 42 kilometers there, and then just 6 kilometers from C to B. That ratio can be simplified. 42 to 6, well, 6 goes into both. 6 goes into 42 7 times, and 6 goes into 6 once. So we've got the ratio of 7 to 1. So what that means is this line is split up into 8 segments, yeah, 8 sections. 7 and 1 is 8. So we can do that easily. Cut it in half it again, and then halve it again. That's quite nice there to cut that into 8. So C would be literally here, because if you count there, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts there, and then just one part here, which would represent the 6 kilometers. So we want the position vector. We want to know what this is, how to get from O to C. So of course, to get from O to C, we'll go OA plus AC. Okay, we'll go along here, which is little a. And then AC then, well, if you think about AC, it's a fraction of AB, isn't it? It's a fraction of AB. So it will be 7/8, because it's 7 parts out of 8 of AB. Just pause this a minute.